Having found what she wanted in Turtle's desk, Angela returned to her frilly bedroom where Sidel Pulaski, glasses low on her nose, was perched on a ruffled stool at the vanity table, smearing blue shadow on her eyelids.
"First we tackle our own clues," the secretary said, frowning at the result in the threefold mirror.
Unlucky from the day she was born, she now had a beautiful and well-loved partner. There was always the chance that they alone had been given the answer. She unsealed the envelope and held it out to Angela.
"Take one."
Angela removed the first clue. Good. Now it was Sidel's turn.
"Glory be!"
she exclaimed, thinking she had the name of the murderer. Her thumb was covering the letter D. The word was Hood. Angela's turn. The third clue was from. Sidel's turn. The fourth clue was spacious. The fifth and last clue was. Angela uttered a low moan. Her hand shook as she passed the paper to her partner. The fifth and last clue was Grace.
"Grace, that's your mother's name, isn't it?"
Sidel said.
"Well, don't worry. That clue doesn't mean your mother is the murderer. The will says it is not what you have, it's what you don't have that counts."
The secretary had not yet transcribed the shorthand, but she had read it through several times before hiding the notebook in a safe place.
"By the way, are you really related to Mr. Westing?"
Angela shrugged. Sidel assumed that meant no and turned to the clues. Good Grace from Hood Spacious. The only thing I can figure from these clues is good gracious from Hood Space. As soon as the parking lot is shoveled out, we'll peek under the hoods of all the cars. A map or more clues may be hidden there, maybe even the murder weapon. Now let's hear about the other clues. Angela reported on the clues gathered in the game room and during the days coming and going. King, Queen. Otis Amber said, King Otis and Queen Crow. Purple waves. Mother switched 2 clues around when Sandy mentioned those words. On or no, Doug and Theo could not decide whether that clue was right side up or upside down. Grains. Chris Theodorakis thinks the clue refers to Otis Amber. You know, grains, oats. MT. Angela showed her partner the crumpled scrap of paper she had picked up along with Sidel's dropped crutch during Flora Baumbach's tea party. 500 shares MT at $6 equals $3,000. Broker's commission equals plus 90 equals $3,090. I checked Turtle's diary. She is not following any stocks with a symbol like MT, so it must be one of her clues. MT could stand for either mountain or empty.
"Excellent,"
Sidel Pulaski remarked. Her partner was beautiful, but not dumb.
"Read all the clues together now."
Good Hood from Spacious, Grace, King, Queen, Purple waves, on, no, Grains, mountain, empty. Sidel was disappointed.
"It is not what you have, it's what you don't have that counts. And what we don't have is a verb. Nothing makes sense without a verb. What about the judge?"
Judge Ford thought her clues were an insult, and she said something about playing a pawn in Westing's game. And she had a clipping of the obituary on her desk. This obituary. Angela handed Sidel the newspaper taken from Turtle's drawer.
"What's that?"
It was a knock on the front door. It was footsteps in the living room. It was Theo. "Anyone for a game of chess?" he asked, leaning through the bedroom doorway.
"No, thank you,"
Sidel replied, looking very busy. Theo smiled shyly at Angela and left. Sidel read the obituary in Turtle's newspaper. The word $200 million were underlined, but she found a more interesting item.
"Sam Westing was a master at chess. No wonder Theo's so interested. Do you know anything about the game, Angela?"
A little, she replied slowly, putting the pieces in order. The judge says she's a pawn, and Otis Amber says he's the king. Crow's the queen. Oh, well, it's probably just a coincidence.
"We can't leave any stone unturned," Sidel insisted. "As the will says, object of the game, to win."
What did you say?
"Object of the game, to win."
How about object of the game, twin? Maybe the murderer is twin.
"Twin!"
Sidel liked that. The only problem would be getting the murderer to admit that he or she is a twin.
Let's get back to my apartment. It's time I transcribed those notes.
Angela helped the invalid to her feet and nervously peered in both directions before stepping into the hallway. Sadell chuckled at her timidity.
There's nothing to be scared of, Angela. Westing was murdered for his money, and we're not rich yet. We won't be rich enough to be murdered until we find the name. And by the time we get the money from the estate, the murderer will be locked up in jail. In spite of the impeccable logic, Angela looked back over her shoulder several times on the way to 3C. Strange.
Sadell stood before her open apartment door. She had slammed it shut on leaving, but had not locked the deadbolt. After all, not even a burglar could get into a snowbound building. Unless... Angela, too frightened to notice that Sadell ran through the apartment with her crutch in the air, found her partner in the bathroom frantically tossing soiled towels from the hamper. Sadell Pulaski stared at the bare wicker bottom, then sank to the rim of the bathtub, shaking her head in disbelief. Someone in Sunset Towers had stolen the shorthand notebook.